These offers get away.
Get back.
Oh crap! Wanted this to be up. I mean, I don't know what's happening right now. I'm watching my own stream here. It doesn't look like it's too bad right now, so I'm just gonna go with it. I think my internet's having some issues right now. I know it's cold out and blizzard's coming, so I apologize about if it looks laggy or the screen looks really blurry. My bit rate for some reason just keeps like just going up and down, up and down. It's not consistent for some reason. So I do apologize. I don't know what the issue is. I'm a little confused right now. I've been going through to make sure that like nothing's like throttling my internet, but for some reason it looks like it is. It's just deciding to be stupid. But sorry y'all. This makes me upset when I'm having issues like this. Alright, whatever. We'll just roll with it. Hopefully it fixes itself. Let me know if you guys, any of you are watching, just let me know if it's bad. And then I'll restart stream. But let's just watch this play over one more time because my God, did the Bulls need this this season. Someone to come up and be a hero when nothing seemed to be going right. Dosunmu won the game on a dropped offensive rebound by John Collins. And my goodness, what an intense game this was, as I was not happy with the offense in the second half, but the defense at least kind of was there throughout the game. And Dosunmu, because of Goran Dragic not playing tonight, and he's injured. A lot of the Bulls are losing guys as we speak, as we have Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr. All missing games, and then Alex Caruso had to miss this one, so I was all of a sudden in the starting lineup to start the second half, and he hasn't been really in the rotation recently, and guess what he does? He comes out and hits the biggest shot probably the Bulls season so far, because my God, did the Bulls need this really, really bad. So I'm very happy right now to see AYOOOO get this moment because it's been a little bit rough for him recently, and he deserves better. Okay, my internet should be working. I see you, Cucklord. Hello, good to see you. Let me know if the stream looks bad. I'm dropping frames, or at least that's what OBS is telling me. So just let me know if the stream quality gets bad. I'm gonna restart stream if that happens. I appreciate you being here. But oh my god, man, I was not happy with this, how this game was, I thought, going to turn out. And it ended up being an actual win for the Bulls, which is very necessary moving forward with this group. I actually sent out a tweet here that I thought that maybe the Bulls might have to win this game through offensive rebounding. And it was just the fourth quarter, guys were just not hitting shots that they're supposed to hit. And the only way the Bulls were scoring or keeping themselves in the game was getting offensive rebounds. So it was one by P. Will, one by Andre Drummond. And I'm like, man, the Bulls just might have to get offensive rebounds to win this game. And it ended up being that AYOOOO got an offensive rebound to win the game. So I'm very proud of this tweet. But still, at the end of the day, the biggest thing is that the Bulls got a win. This was a disgusting win, in my opinion. And I'm mostly disgusted at the offense. There's a lot of things that don't look good for this Bulls team in this game. Most notably 29% for three-point range. The three-point shots were just not going down in this one. But they got the win. They ended up getting the win in this one, just barely, thanks to Dosunmu in the end. But man, what an intense, just a very intense game. And you kind of felt like if the Bulls lose this one, it's like, all right, well, the win against Miami means nothing at the end of the day. So overall, I'm just upset at the offense. I can't be upset at the defense in this one. The fourth quarter defense definitely wasn't amazing. There's a few plays I want to go over that I had some issues with defensively, but in the end, I'm looking at three quarters where the Hawks scored 25, 26, 26, okay? These three quarters, like, you can argue the third quarter wasn't as good defensively, but if you're holding teams to 25, 26, 26, that's good defense. I can't be upset at that. It's then the fourth quarter where you give up 31 points is where the issue was. And a big part of the issue, I think, was that the offense was sputtering, kind of like, mid-third quarter to early fourth quarter. Like, the offense was just feeding the Atlanta Hawks points. And that, to me, is just inexcusable. You can't have bad offense in these close games. And we saw the Bulls offense kind of sputter at the end of the first half when Alex Caruso got injured, and that kind of stopped the Bulls' momentum, unfortunately. So just overall, it's like this Bulls offense is a serious issue right now. You give up 108 points. I can live with 108 points given up, but most importantly, I'm looking at some of the other statistics for the defense. Bulls only got up 34 points in the paint. That's fantastic. You did your job if you only go 34 points in the paint. That means the Atlanta Hawks were just hitting other shots from the perimeter. And I thought in the first half, the defensive rotations were completely crisp and on point. The second half is when we started to see some breakdowns. We saw a few guys not rotate. We saw a lot of guys not pick up point of attack early enough. And that led to some easy points for the Atlanta Hawks. And you could see that the momentum was starting to shift. And that's when I was like, okay, I understand that there's some breakdowns defensively, but we need to see better offense in general, because if this offense can figure itself out, the defense is going to be able to get back to being set and not being put in transition, and where they have to pick up the Hawks in transition, which is basically just guaranteed points, in my opinion, because play any NBA team, if they're playing in transition, they're going to probably win. Or score points. So, offense, man, I'm just not happy with the offense right now. I know the Bulls shot 50% from the field, but they shot like over 60% in the first half. So this 50%, most of the good stuff came in the first half, not the second half. 29% for three-point range. A lot of guys had a lot of open three-point looks. A lot of guys, and they didn't knock them down tonight. That just has to do. You just have to do better. You're in the NBA. You have to hit these threes. And then the free throw discrepancy was actually pretty. It was all right. I was not I was not happy with the officials tonight. I'll say that as well. I think they also kind of ruined the Bulls' momentum. But in the end, we gave well, the Bulls swung back at the Atlanta Hawks as the Hawks beat us on the buzzer beater last time we were here, and we beat them on the buzzer beater this time from Dosunmu. So awesome stuff. I want to break down this play just very quickly, and then we can move on to some of the other plays and then go to chat. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing? Good payback? Yeah. So I will give the Bulls offense this. The Bulls scored 9 straight possessions to end the game. So they did their job when it was necessary, right? And that to me, it's like, okay, I can be, not as upset at the offense, but in general, the Bulls offense was bad in that second half, but they came up clutch when it mattered most, especially with this shot right here. So in 9 straight possessions, the Bulls did score, and there were some big shots by a lot of guys down the stretch. It's just that you can't have these runs where you can't score a field goal for 4 minutes, right? That's just inexcusable. And we saw multiple of those runs in this game where it's like the Bulls just sputtering on offense. There's nothing happening, and we saw the Atlanta Hawks take advantage of it very, very quickly. What's going on, Go-Go? Glad to see you here again. Yeah, sorry I had to miss the game, but yeah, Bulls won. They've won 2 in a row, which is something I didn't think we'd say after this horrific stretch. But yeah, they won 2 in a row. And yeah, Cucklord, you said that it was nice to see Terry get some time. It was nice to see Terry get some time. I thought he'd be playing before any injuries happened, but unfortunately, Alex Caruso did get injured, and that's the reason why he did play some minutes. Nothing to really note of for Dalen Terry's minutes. He did foul Bojan Bogdanovic on a jump shot, which I don't think was a foul. I think that was not a foul on Dalen Terry. That was just a bad call by the officials, which there were a lot of bad calls by the officials this entire game. So, yeah, nothing too interesting about that. But I want to see how this looks on here. Okay, this looks kind of crappy. Yeah, I'll just roll with it. So, I'm gonna play back this play and talk about what I'm looking at here. And this play right here, it looks extremely similar to the DeMar DeRozan game winner in Washington, right? It's a very, very similar play. So what the Bulls did here is that you had Zach kind of start here, and you see it, they're basically doing a wheel route for Zach to come off of these like double flare screens set by Patrick Williams and Nikola Vucevic, okay? And then you're going to see here that DeMar DeRozan comes up and sets a rip screen for Patrick Williams to come on through. So this creates a lot of confusion within the defense. It's like, okay, we can't let anybody get a back cut to the rim, right? Because as we saw the Atlanta Hawks do to us, that leads to a lob and probably leads to a game winner, okay? So wheel route action, okay? And we see then the rip screen for DeMar DeRozan. And now DeRozan officially has an isolation against DeAndre Hunter on the block. Okay, so he gets it in the corner, as you can see here, 1-on-1. There is no one else anywhere near DeMar DeRozan. John Collins is so focused on what's about to happen here, as Vucevic is going to set a cross screen for Zach to go around here, and Patrick Williams is also standing right here and could potentially just go right to the rim, right? So John Collins cannot come over and double DeRozan. So again, good job at Billy Donovan with this play. And I'm not a fan of the shot, really. I think this was a very terrible shot. DeRozan decided to shoot it very quickly, which is the right play in a sense, because we've kind of talked about this a little bit. If you have like 4 seconds left, you want to shoot it quick, right? Reason why is because if you shoot it quick, it gives you enough time to potentially get the offensive rebound, which AYOOOO got with 0.3 seconds left. Put it up and in. So I don't like the shot. I think DeRozan could have just gotten the ball and just spun and turned and shot it. Instead, he took a dribble and tried to do the shimmy and did a very hard fadeaway from 20 feet. But the good thing is that the Bulls, they did everything right there, which was you got to shoot it quickly to give you enough time to get the offensive rebound. Because if you just run the clock out and shoot it with 2 seconds left, there's not enough time for AYOOOO to get that offensive rebound, and then it's into OT. And oh man, I always say, overtime on the road is a hard thing for you to win, and it's most likely going to end in an L. So, good play by Billy Donovan. I know I don't give him a lot of credit right now. I'm not happy with Billy Donovan in recent games, but this was a good drawn-up play. It got exactly the Bulls got exactly what they wanted, which is an isolation for DeMar DeRozan on the block, and no one else is going to be able to come over and double. They shot it quickly, so they executed it right. I just didn't like the shot, and then Dosunmu did his job, which is to crash the offensive board, and he went up and put it in. So overall, just good. At the end, again, shot. Not exactly too happy with that shot by DeRozan. I thought he could have just got the ball, catch, spin, fade away from 16, but instead he took that dribble to shoot it from 20. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter. Bulls got the win, and that's all that matters. What's going on, Jigs? Good to see you. So yeah, I'm again happy with how the Bulls ended this game. They scored on 9 straight possessions on offense, so the offense came in clutch when it needed to. But it just was the offense through the third quarter and into the fourth quarter was just awful. But at the end of the day, the Bulls defense kept them in this one, and I can't be too upset if that's how they win this game or potentially lose a game if their defense is still solid. So rebounding wise, the Bulls gave up 9 offensive rebounds, which they probably should have only given up 3. So that was a bit of an issue. But the rebounding battle was dead even. So 47-47. Can't complain too hard, but too many offensive rebounds given to the Atlanta Hawks, especially down the stretch. Bulls only had 11 turnovers, so they cleaned this up, which is something good to see. But yet again, I'm always going to say this. This is the biggest thing right here. You protect the paint first. You force the opposing team to shoot it from the outside. And guess what? Give credit to the Hawks. They made 14 threes. They made a bunch of mid-range shots as well. You did your job. Overall, there were definitely some defensive breakdowns, but you overall did your job on the defensive end tonight. And that led to this win because even though the Hawks were hitting those outside shots, they only scored 108 points because they only got 34 points in the paint. The target to me is only give up about 40 to 44 points in the paint every single game. Anything below that is incredible. That's just icing on the cake. And I pointed out earlier, offensive rebounds for the Atlanta Hawks. They had 12 second chance points. That's too high. So the Bulls got to do a better job rebounding the ball, which was inexcusable for a good amount of the game. Let's see here. What's going on, Caper? Good to see you. Heart Pounder, happy for us. The wake-up call for them and moving forward. Revenge games should be on their minds. Oh, for sure. Yeah, revenge games need to definitely be on their minds. And I'm glad that they swung back against the Atlanta Hawks for giving us a game winner last time, and so we give them a game winner this time. By the way, man, I'm just like, we talked about Trae Young during our last stream together, or when I streamed yesterday. Like, I don't know what's happening with the Atlanta Hawks, man, but like, I'm just not happy with how they've been playing. And I'm just, Trae Young is just such a weird player where he thinks he's like a superstar, but he does not play defense. If you want to talk about shot selection with the Bulls, go watch Trae Young, his shot selection. It's just overall like, man, I don't know what to really say at this point. I'm just not happy with how Trae Young is kind of doing things. He had like 29 points in the first half, and then didn't score that much in the second half, so credit to the Bulls, I guess, but I also just think that he took some ill-advised shots. The Atlanta Hawks are 16-16. Like, they're also underperforming after getting DeJounte Murray, and, you know, they traded 3 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray. Like, they got to start waking up here as well. But it just kind of showed me that they were a bit of an unserious team because they were up by 8 with, like, 4 minutes left, and somehow the Bulls came back and won it. That shows to me that you're an unserious team, that you're not looking to actually close out games. You're just kind of there to play, and potentially, you know, end up losing it. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they got, you know, the players put up their stats. So, yeah, I think this kind of shows you that, like, if if we're all kind of questioning, like, can the Bulls like get back into this race here, and like I don't, I really don't care right now about how the playoffs look, but especially for the Bulls, because I don't know about them making the playoffs this year, because I think there's some moves on the horizon for this team. But I mean, we're a half game behind Toronto now, so we'd be back in the play-in, and then we're only 2.5 games behind Miami for 7. So 7 seed is like right there, and we got 3 teams stuck at 500, 7, 8, and 9. So a lot of teams are just kind of underperforming. I mean, Miami's underperforming, Atlanta's underperforming, Toronto's underperforming, we're underperforming. The Pacers obviously have been overachieving this season, so good to them. But yeah, Bulls have some ground to make up. Which we'll see if they do. We'll see if the front office even wants them to even try. At the end of the day, Cruz is in return. We're going to struggle with defense the next few games if he doesn't come back right. I think you're going to see the impact of him not being out there on the court. At the end of the day, to me, defense is just effort. And even without Caruso out there, I thought the defense was all right. It was overall good, but there were definitely some miscues, especially kind of close to the end of the game. But to me, it's all about effort. Like, I don't care if Cruz is out there or not. Yeah, he helps. I mean, he's one of the best defenders in the league, but this team should still defend at a good enough level, even when he's not there. And we'll see if he is able to play. I'm going to say he's probably out the next game, because apparently it is a shoulder issue, and that those are always something that I feel like takes a little bit longer to heal. So Bulls, they have to lock in now. I mean, like, you lose Caruso, but like we've seen, Dosunmu is a very capable defender. Kobe White is a capable defender. And the big three have shown that they can actually be part of a good defensive team. So they just have to show up and play defense. And just because Caruso is out does not give them an excuse to be like, oh, we're not playing defense now because our best defensive player is out. Can't do that. I hope Caruso is at least with the team, because he is definitely kind of like that on-court coach. And that, I think, is very valuable as well. So Bulls will miss that with Caruso being out, but yeah, the Bulls just have to continue to play good defense, even though Caruso is not going to be playing. We know how at least the Bulls can be at the most basic stuff, so just keep my expectations low. Yeah, and I think that's a fine thing to do. But I'm just saying that, like, if this, argument that happened in Minnesota is supposed to, be holding everybody accountable, just because one of your best defensive players goes out does not mean, hey, we could just not play defense anymore, right? So, yeah, keep your expectations low. I would also do that. But they should continue to play defense. I think that's very evident. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know how much faith I have in them to continue playing good defense in general. Even if Cruz was still playing, I don't know if I trust them to continue to play good defense. So, overall, just like, yeah, we'll see what this team is really made of in the next few games, especially because there's some really tough opponents coming up pretty soon. Look at the box score. I thought there were some really solid things by Patrick Williams tonight. He rebounded the ball very well. He had some good aggressive drives to the rim, which was awesome to see. And he was extremely effective, and it was almost necessary down the stretch, right? Because we needed to see P. Will come in and put up a good performance, because we're losing bodies, right? No Javonte Green, no Derrick Jones Jr., no Goran Dragic, now no Caruso. So P. Will had to step up, and he did just that, and I'm happy to see that. Bench tonight it was a very small bench. Donovan initially went with 8, so not a lot of guys playing. Dosunmu had to play 34 minutes off the bench. Kobe had to play 29 minutes off the bench. So you kind of saw it was a very short rotation. Dalen Terry got minutes once Caruso went out, so it was still an 8-man rotation at the end of the day. So the bench, I'm not going to complain too hard, because Kobe, a lot of minutes for him. I would like to see more than 10 points. I thought he kind of missed some threes that he needed to make as well. Obviously, he had to be thrust into the starting lineup, and so he needs to do a little bit better too. I expect him to be kind of starting the next couple of games, so he needs to do a little bit better and not come in and start turning the ball over and playing out of control. But then once he kind of settled down, he looked a lot better out there. So that's good to see. The bench right now, man, I don't know when Javonte Green's going to come back. It seems like that's something that's going to take a little bit for him to heal. And then Derrick Jones Jr. just sprained his ankle. So I expect him to be out for the next couple of games. Dragic is probably going to be back, so at least we'll get somebody. But the Bulls are going to be missing Javonte Green, Derrick Jones Jr., and Alex Caruso from here on out for at least the next few games, it looks like. So the bench guys are going to have to really step up. Notably, Kobe, he has to step up. And I think Dalen Terry is going to continue to get minutes because we need forward depth, and losing Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr. is a big part of our forward depth. So they gotta play Dalen Terry, in my opinion. We'll see if they actually do it, but I would play Terry. But P-Will's going to get a lot of minutes here, so and that's something I think he can handle just fine. But I want to go over a few plays here that I'm like, defensively, the Bulls just have to do better. There are a few plays where I'm like, guys, we talked about defense, right? You have to continue to play the good defense. So, see if I can get to this play. So on this play right here, okay, we've been harping on like weak side defense and stuff like that. I'm gonna blame the point of attack on this one. Okay, let's just watch this. Okay, so this right here, this little screen roll action, the Hawks have been doing this with either DeJounte Murray or Trae Young. Okay, they're trying to get the switch so that DeMar DeRozan is going to come up and have to cover Trae Young, and I would assume it's going to get switched on DeAndre Hunter, and then they isolate against DeRozan. So automatically here, the Bulls have been switching this the entire game. All right, I'm gonna take my gum out of my mouth here. So the Bulls have been switching this the entire game. Okay, they've been willing to let DeRozan try to guard Trae Young and not give up any sort of edge to Trae Young or DeJounte Murray or whoever it is, trying to get the switch on DeRozan. Okay, so I don't know what exactly DeRozan calls out here. He's clearly talking to Ayo, but this either needs to be a switch or it has to be clear what Ayo needs to do. And to me, there wasn't enough communication. Also, if DeRozan's not going to switch this, then you need to come up and meet Trae Young and allow Ayo to get back in front of him. You can't let Trae Young have this much space between you, because if you let him, one, either pull up from here, or two, just go right to the rim, that's a shot that Trae Young can make. You need to make sure that he is not getting the shot in this situation. So it's not very good defense by DeRozan. It looks like he's saying stay on him, but if you're DeRozan, you got to stay here. Like, you have to be up on Trae Young when the screen roll happens, okay? If DeAndre Hunter somehow gets the ball and hits the shot, you just just tip your cap and move on. It's DeAndre Hunter. Can't be upset. But don't let Trae Young get to the lane, which he allows right here, which is an issue, okay? Now, Patrick Williams does the right thing. You can't completely come off Bogdanovich. We know that this is a great shooter right here. So he comes in and kind of stabs at the ball. Vucevic, though, this is where he's late. Vucevic has to be here. He got you. Once he sees that Trae Young has that lane, Vucevic has to step up. Because if Vucevic does not step up quick enough, then Zach's not going to come over and help him in time. And then DeRozan has to be ready to go out to DeJounte Murray once Trae Young starts to officially commit to the paint. So this right here was a bad job at the point of attack, which we just talked about up here. Then it's a bad job by Vucevic by coming in late here, which then results in Levine being late on the weak side, and DeRozan should be more over here to make sure they can cover up DeJounte Murray if Trae Young passes it back out to him. So we see that Vucevic is late, then Zach is going to be late because Vucevic was late, and ends up being a wide open dunk for Onyeka Okongwu. It all starts, though, as I've been saying, top of the key, right? The top of the key defense, which I showed at the beginning, point of attack. The point of attack defense, which I showed at the beginning, has to be better. Okay, I'm fine if you want Dosunmu to stay on Trae Young in this situation, and I don't want to switch DeRozan out to him. But again, DeRozan, once Trae Young comes off the screen, you got to be up here. You have to meet him up there and let DeAndre Hunter figure out what to do at the end of the game. Okay, DeRozan is standing far back and not meeting up Trae Young up here where he should be, which allows him to get the lane. Vucevic is late. Zach's late. dunk. Okay, so that's a bad defensive breakdown at the end. At one of the bad defensive breakdowns at the end of the game. So that happened. Now, the Bulls, the DeRozan hits a shot here, so that the Bulls are going to go up by 2, and this right here, this is also a bad defensive breakdown. So if you're going to disagree with me on this is totally fine. But in my opinion, you cannot be picking up Trae Young at full court right now. There is 8 seconds, which they inbound with like 9.2. There is plenty of time for Trae Young to get around you, and he's one of the quicker guys in the league. You cannot let Trae Young get past you in this situation. Keep the ball in front of you. And I would assume him picking up full court. I know he hit the game winner, but this to me is a mistake. He picked up full court. Trae Young is able to get right around him because he picked up full court. And because of this, okay, it leads to a breakdown, right? I would assume who is beat, which again, this falls on him, the point of attack. You let this man get by you way too quickly. So the initial line of defense was not there. And then Patrick Williams is then late on the rotation. I'm not going to fault Vucevic for this one because this was just bad point of attack defense and bad decision by Ayo. Pick up full court. If you're P. Will, you got to move over, right? You got to come on in and cover up the lob because then Zach's going to be able to cover up Bogdanovich in the corner. And it just ends up being another lob to or another dunk for Onyeka. So just 2 bad defensive mistakes in a row on back-to-back possessions for the Bulls, which was a problem, which is why I'm like a little bit upset at the end of this one. I know Ayo hit that game winner, but it's like you can't have these defensive breakdowns in these situations, right? Beginning of the game is one thing, end of the game is a whole different thing. You can't have them at the end of the game like we're seeing here. So just overall, really bad defensive possessions at the end of the game, but luckily the Bulls, they ended up winning it. Which was huge that they won this one because a lot of things were not going in their favor at the end. I also thought with DeRozan that the Bulls isolated too much with him. He got into this mode where the Bulls were just like in this isolation mode with him, and I don't know if it was him or it was Billy Donovan, but this is when I was calling out like, hey, the Donovan has to call better plays or DeRozan needs to do better because there was too much isolation for DeRozan in that fourth quarter, which is letting the Hawks get back into the game or grow a bigger lead. So that was an issue. But he hit that big shot with like nine seconds left to go, so give him credit for that. And then I thought Zach, people called him out. His peers called him out. The media's been calling him out. Fans have been calling him out. It's like, all right, you wanted better from Zach LaVine. I don't like to see only 2 3-point shots, but people tell you that's a better shot selection, which I just completely disagree. But at the end of the day, he hit 2 big clutch shots in the last 3 minutes, and then he hit another clutch shot with around 4 minutes left to go to help keep the Bulls in it. So I know a lot of people have been complaining about Zach LaVine and his clutch stats, and his clutch stats have been awful to start the year, but and people always say that he isn't clutch. That statement is overall false because he's been, in the previous 2 seasons, he's been one of the best clutch players in the league. He is one of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league as well. But this season's he has been bad in the clutch this season. I'll say that. And he came through, which is what we expect from him during these sort of scenarios, which is, it's not necessarily that he has to hit the shot, but I expect to be more involved in the offense, whether that's him creating a play for someone else or just him being involved in the play. But he ended up hitting 2 big mid-range shots to keep the Bulls either, I think it was give the Bulls the lead with both those shots. So just big shots by Zach at the end of the day, which was huge, which is really good to see. I thought Vucevic had a very overall, like, just mid-game. I felt like got going early on where he got some good opportunities and was taking advantage of them very effectively. But then we started to see him, and it wasn't just him missing, but it was kind of everybody. He started taking a lot of threes, especially kind of late in the second half. And that's when it was like, man, I don't know what to do with you or anybody at this point. So it's not exactly full out him, but this team was not hitting threes tonight. They're 7-24. It's not going down. to see Vucevic just kind of settle for some threes, I'm like, I need you to either be a mid-range player right now, or you run the pick and roll hard to the rim. That's what I needed to see, and it didn't really end up happening too much. And then he almost picked up a technical foul, which he 100% got hit in the head on one of the plays where he fell over when going for a dunk. Officials didn't call it, he got hit in the hand. Should have been a foul, but then he came back and fouled Trae Young on the other end, and he almost picked up a tech. But thank God for Ayo for pulling him to make sure that he didn't pick up that tech. And it ended up, honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, if it's just one free throw, but it might have saved the Bulls at the end of the day. So that was huge to see from Ayo yet again. But yeah, Vooch just did not have. It just seemed like he didn't dominate like we saw in Miami, right? We thought that Vucevic was like getting established again, and he just kind of didn't feel established this game. Part of it's on the players, but I also just think part of it's on Donovan, right? I always say, like, look, it's the biggest thing for me. Like, posting up is not analytically an efficient offense if you're looking to post up in the low block to score. It is not efficient. It's something that is not very effective in today's game. But if he has a mismatch on him, he needs to post up. Because that, to me, the analytics go out the window. You're looking at a 7-footer being guarded by someone that's 6 inches shorter than him. Analytics don't matter at that point. Take advantage. And I thought Vucevic had some opportunities to do that, but he kept passing it out of the post when he had that mismatch, and he didn't even take a dribble. So I think part of him not being as effective tonight was also on him. And then, to me, though, it's mostly on Billy Donovan. Like, Donovan needs to do better and get onto him and say, look, we need you. We need you to play well. We need you to look to score first and then look to pass. And that helps keep Vooch engaged. And I thought Donovan could have done that, but at the end of the day, Bulls won it. So yeah, good thing we won the challenge. Oh my God, I was livid with that foul call by the officials. That if you want to see my reaction, here it is. I said no shot, and that's not a foul on DeRozan. That was not a foul on DeMar DeRozan. The officials called a foul on DeRozan for fouling Trae Young on a 3-point shot. It was a late whistle. And I was like, man, that was a late whistle. And then you watch the replay, I'm like, that's not a foul either. So good challenge by Billy Donovan. The Bulls won it. I was just upset that the Bulls had to use their challenge on something that shouldn't have been called. Like, it was very clear that that was not a foul. And yet, the officials were like, no, we're just going to call it just because it's Trae Young and we're stupid. I thought the officials, they did a horrible job at the end of the second half. Trae Young traveled twice in one possession and they didn't call anything. And then DeRozan fouled Trae Young at the end of the first half, before halftime. And yes, it was a foul on DeRozan. It was a bad job by DeMar DeRozan. And I'm here to tell you, like, yeah, that was a foul on DeMar. But what's stupid to me is that DeMar has not complained the entire game, and he just says what to the official, and they just tee him up immediately. When Trae Young was complaining to the officials from the start of the game, and nothing was called on him. It just bothers me to see these officials are not consistent. They're just always like, I'm just gonna single out players when I want to. My feelings get hurt, and it gets in the way of the game. They take over games, and it's stupid. And I think the league needs to do something about it, because there's clearly some officials right now that are in the NBA that don't deserve their job. But I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just saying enforce some consequences to them. They need to understand they got to do better. Because so far what I think they've only been told is that you're right. No matter what, you're always right. You can't do anything wrong. And that's stupid. That's something that cannot slide, because the officiating this season has been the worst I've ever seen my entire time watching the NBA, which has been about now a decade. Okay, like, I've never seen worse officiating in my time watching the NBA, and tonight was one of those games which was just awful officiating throughout the entire game. And I made it very, very clear on my Twitter that it was horrible officiating. And at this point, I'm just kind of becoming numb to it because I just kind of expect bad officials because it's just that bad uh, at the end. So it's just so interesting to see how the officiating is just kind of bad overall on this game. For the Hawks side, I just want to point out a couple things. John Collins. I know we've kind of discussed John Collins a little bit in this community as if he's a potential option for the Bulls. I think this should kind of show you that we should not go after John Collins. I'm not in general a big fan of John Collins, and he is kind of, he's having a really down year. He's shooting horrible from 3-point range, like 20. I think it's 22% from three for this season. He picked up a lot of early fouls, which led to less playing time. I understand, like, this dude's like freakishly athletic. He's a good rebounder, but he's not that good of a defender. His scoring for some reason has gotten worse recently. Someone that I just don't want on this Bulls team. I don't expect the Bulls to be training with the Atlanta Hawks anyway, but just kind of want to throw that out there. And DeAndre Hunter is another guy that I feel like, I think around the league he gets all this credit, but to me, I would play AJ Griffin over DeAndre Hunter, and yet for some reason, Nate McMillan continues to play DeAndre Hunter a ton of minutes, and I'm just like, I'm playing AJ Griffin because he was killing the Bulls, and I think he's just a better player right now. Hunter is a guy that is paid a lot of money. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. But Trae Young had, again, like 29 in the first half, only ended up with 34. DeJounte Murray kind of had an off game. He had 15 and 10, but he missed some shots where I'm used to seeing that go in. But I thought the Bulls limited his opportunities well, especially in that first half. So can't complain too hard at the end of the day. But that's my recap for this game. I broke down a couple plays defensively, which was like, yikes, that was awful. I broke down this play, which was, I thought, good play by Billy Donovan, just bad shot by DeRozan, but overall good execution by the Bulls. And Dosunmu ended up getting the game winner because they executed correctly. Really good to see the Bulls get a win, and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's awesome to see all the tweets they're going out. All right, so now I want to get to what you guys are thinking right now about the season. I've been kind of like harping on a lot of Bulls fans recently for talking about being kind of stuck in the past. I'm gonna bring up a tweet a little bit later here that was kind of discussing that, but I want to know, what are you guys thinking right now? Bulls have just won 2 straight. They had the big, dispute apparently in the locker room in Minnesota, which I don't like dispute in my opinion. I don't really even know what we can really call that. But they're now 13 and 18. I know a lot of people say tank, but you're very close to the play-in right now. I'm not exactly looking at this season as like, make the playoffs anymore, because I think that the core is about to be broken up here. But what do you think right now as Bulls fans? I think it overall sucks, this season, but does this at least give you some hope that some of the players on the roster that is most likely to be kept, that they can move forward with them, right? Like, to me, the biggest thing right now from this season is that I think Patrick Williams has shown enough to me where it's like, I'm moving forward with that guy. I know he's had some bad moments this season, especially early on, but defensively, to me, he has become a premier defender in this league, and I'm like, that's something that I was not exactly sure of coming into the season, and I think we kind of all knew he had the tools, but can he become a good defender, right? And that's a guy that I'm like, I'm moving forward with that guy. Unless obviously a crazy trade comes around. But I feel confident, like, all right, yeah, we're keeping Pat no matter what happens, whether they decide to trade DeRozan or Vooch, or they don't decide to trade anybody. Pat's here. And I'm overall like, this is a good thing. So I think that's good for this season that we got that answer, at least for now. Obviously, things can change, but to me, P. Will has done enough that I'm like, all right, we can move forward with them. I also think that it's interesting to kind of watch his 3-point shooting from here on out because he is shooting at a very high percentage. I know it probably went down tonight, but Patrick Williams' 3-point percentage is something that I think is something like we just can't ignore it, right? 43% for the 3-point range is just something that we can't ignore. He's also averaging basically, he's doubled his attempts for 3-point range compared to his rookie and sophomore season. So he's taking more. I want him to take closer to 6 per game. I think that'd be a good spot to get him to. But I think it's good to see that he is shooting that much more confidently, and I'm looking forward to moving forward with P. Will with this team. Whether it is the Bulls are hitting the rebuild button or not, I think he's gonna be an effective piece moving forward. The other person I want to talk about is Dosunmu. I know recently that Ayo has been kind of that guy that's been out of the rotation. I did not like how Donovan was kind of using it with like the middle of the second quarter, middle of the fourth quarter minutes, because since Alex Caruso's been in the starting lineup, I think Ayo needs to play. And he kind of fell out of the rotation because of his injury, which I think is kind of stupid. But I think Ayo needs to play. And it's not just because he had a good game tonight. I was calling for Ayo to get more minutes even before this game. And he got more minutes because Dragic was out, and then he got even more minutes because Caruso went out. So, to me, Ayo's another guy that I'm moving forward with. Maybe he is not the starting point guard of the future, but I think he has a future with this team. And I would personally try to get a look to see if he can start at PG. He's obviously started a lot of games at the point guard already. I just think that he needs to have a little bit more support around him from the coaching staff and from the players in general, because he has shown me that he can effectively play make. And I hope he gets a little bit more opportunities to do so because he's been effective there. So I'm looking forward to moving forward with him. He's going to return. And again, I made a video on how the Bulls can re-sign him, even if it gets weird. But it looks like the Bulls won't have to worry about giving him a big deal because he is officially now on the bench for this team. Probably starting because Caruso's going to be out, but he's on the bench now. So those two young guys is looking good. Obviously, we don't know what Dalen Terry yet. He's getting time in the G League. He played a little bit today. Nothing to really note of today. But I like the pick overall. But the big three, who's staying, who's going. I think it's kind of evident that if there's one player staying, it's probably Zach. But there's no guarantee that he's here. He's guaranteed to be here for the rest of this season or for the rest of his career. But I'm going to be interested to see because we're getting to that point now because Christmas time is when the trade market starts to heat up, guys. Like, this is when we're looking at teams starting to look like, okay, we're about 30 plus games into the season. We kind of know what we got in the team. We're almost at the halfway point. Time to make a move. Or do we need to make a move or do we not need to make a move? And I'm looking at DeRozan as a guy that is probably going to get moved here because the Bulls are probably not going to be achieving too much of the season, and he should probably go look to get that ring that he wants somewhere else. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see the rumors that are going to start coming out here soon. That does not mean the rumors do not allow this team to play bad. By the way, they have to continue to play well, but it's going to be interesting to see how the team responds to all these rumors because I know rumors can affect players pretty badly. So I'm going to be interested to see the trade market. We'll see what AK and Mark Eversley want. Again, we do not know what they want to do. All the rumors that you hear from these outlets or sources, they're not legit. The only person I think you can trust is Casey Johnson at the end of the day, or more so Bulls beat writers. Do not trust, someone from Bleacher Report that says, I have a source, unless it's Jake Fisher, obviously. But we don't know what the Bulls front office is going to do at the end of the day. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly AK and Mark Eversley decide to do, because I think DeRozan's gonna get some offers, or yeah, DeRozan's gonna field some offers where it's like you might not be able to turn that down. It might be something where it's like we have to take that deal, even if AK and Mark Eversley don't want to do it, or did not plan to trade DeRozan in the first place. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see. Now, for all the people that keep thinking like, why haven't we made a move already, right? Vucevic, DeRozan, these are two guys that can be traded. They were able to be traded from the start of the season. Zach cannot be traded until January 15th, so there's that. So you can't trade him. But why haven't we traded DeRozan? Why haven't we traded Vucevic, right? Well, if the front office was actually looking to trade these guys, you do not just trade them now just because, right? There's no market right now for anybody at this very moment in time. There's rumors, here and there, but there is no market, right? You wait until the trade deadline because you're going to try to see if you can get a bidding war for these sort of guys. And then maybe a team gets desperate to try to finish the deal before the trade deadline, and they offer that extra asset, whatever it is. That's the reason why you don't trade them now. Like, even if this Bulls season is going to crap, you still wait until around the trade deadline, because that's when the market starts to heat up. That's when teams start calling about the same player. That's when the bidding starts. So, I'm sure you could trade DeRozan for something good now, but you could potentially get something better if you wait until the trade deadline. And that's the reason why you don't trade them now. If you're trying to look, if you're thinking like, oh, we're gonna trade them eventually. So I think that this is what we haven't seen any trades besides like the Bogdanovich trade, I guess, which was still preseason. So there hasn't been any trades, significant trades this season. So the trade market to me is always Christmas time. After Christmas is when things start to become serious, and I'm gonna be looking forward to it personally. I think that this is something that we're gonna as Bulls fans be hearing about constantly, about potential offers being made for some of our guys. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here on out. Bulls are gonna, they might want to regain some assets. They might want to get some salary cap space, whatever it is. But I can just kind of see some trades going down, because some guys are about to hit free agency. The core is not getting any younger. We'll see. We're really going to see what the front office is actually thinking about this team moving forward from here. But any thoughts, guys, on what we should do, what we should not do, etc. For this Bulls, or what you think the team should or should not do moving forward from here on out? Let's hear it if you have any. Looking forward here, though, I want to look forward to some of the schedules as well. What should we prioritize in getting, though? I think it matters what this front office decides, right? If they're deciding that we're keeping this core together, then obviously you're looking for complementary pieces, notably a point guard, for this team to start winning more games. If it's, let's just shake things up, then I think you're mostly looking for either, I'm just saying, like, not full out rebuild, but looking to like shake up the roster. You're either looking for a completely different style player in return that can help now, or you're looking for young young prospects with potential and draft capital. And then if you're rebuilding, you're looking for same thing, young prospects and a lot of draft capital. That's what it kind of ends up coming down to. But something I think might be on the front office's mind is, because with the Lonzo Ball situation just so up in the air, and then we got a good update today, but to me that's not much of an update. I think a point guard might be something that they're looking at. I think they kind of think everyone else is set, but even if they decide like they're going to trade Vooch or they're going to trade DeRozan, they might look for a point guard at the end of the day. They might be looking for a guy that can handle the point guard duties and not have to use Caruso in the starting lineup every single night. So start looking around. A guy I always like is Tyus Jones, but he is with the Memphis Grizzlies and they're playing well. I think that's a guy that can just help this team immediately. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of watch to see if any sort of point guard becomes available that the Bulls can potentially snag. More so on the younger side, I guess, to kind of help this team for the now and the future. Doesn't have to be, like a 20-year-old, just someone that's, maybe 24, 25, 26, and thinking like, hey, we can help the team now or for the future by adding that point guard. Because Lonzo Ball's health is very concerning. I'm very concerned about it, most notably. But yeah, that's what I think the Bulls are going to be looking at overall. The Bulls take on the New York Knicks next, so we'll see what happens. I don't see DeMar and Vooch being with us at least next year, but the Bulls need a leader who can push the team. Zach isn't the ideal leader. So yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. I just don't know if... So to me right now, from what I think is happening, and this is just... nothing from sources or anything, it's just what's been true, okay? The Bulls and Nikola Vucevic have not had any contract extensions, or contract negotiations for his extension, right? So to me, that's telling me that they're looking to move on from him. Whether that's they're just letting him go, or they're looking to trade him, okay? Now, personally, I'm just like, I don't think that letting Vooch go in free agency is a good thing, because you trade a lot to get him here. You don't want to lose him for nothing. So, to me, he's the guy that is probably getting moved most likely. Now, with DeRozan, I think what's going to become interesting is that there are going to be so many teams that want DeRozan badly. Now, we went over, a Phoenix Suns potential trade last stream. I think that's going to make the Bulls front office really start to think and start thinking like, yeah, we might have to take a deal because it's too good to pass up on DeRozan, right? If they get 3 first-round picks, which I can actually see being a possibility, not saying that they're all unprotected, but 3 first-round picks and some decent guys, like, that might be too good to pass up. So, I think that would potentially lead to DeRozan being traded this season. I also just won't be shocked if they trade him in the offseason, because he, again, is under contract for next season. So maybe it's not a trade deadline, maybe it's off-season trade. But look for Vooch to get traded, because I honestly think that because they have not had the contract negotiations, I think Vooch is looking to leave, and I think that the front office is looking to move on from him. Which I think is a good thing, because they just admitted to a mistake, which a lot of front offices don't do. So we're going to really see what the Bulls front office is exactly thinking. Now with Zach, yeah, Zach is not the ideal leader. I've been saying that with Zach LaVine, like this whole max contract BS that I keep hearing, like Zach has to be the leader of the max contract now. Like, not necessarily. Like, if that was true, then like Rudy Gobert needs to be the leader for the Minnesota Timberwolves every single night because he's getting paid the most money. So at the end of the day, like Zach is not the leader in terms of trying to really bring the team together and getting the ball when a game's 100% on the line, right? But he is a phenomenal number 2 option. So we're gonna see what the Bulls think of Zach. I think they're looking to probably keep him around and looking to somehow get that leader, that number 1 guy, that superstar to pair alongside him, or they're going to trade Zach to potentially get that superstar, similar to how the Raptors traded DeMar DeRozan to get Kawhi Leonard, right? So I think that's kind of where the Bulls are kind of looking to get to that winning window, but we're going to really see what this Bulls front office starts to think, because I honestly, right now, to me, it's flip a coin. I don't know. One side is that they're just going to let this season play out and run with this same core, which clearly doesn't work. But then I also can see them trading, on the other side of the coin, trading Vooch and DeRozan, or at least trading one of the two at the trade deadline. So to me, it's either nothing's going to happen or moves will be made. I'm going to lean towards moves will be made because it's kind of obvious that this team needs changes. Again, they're quiet, so maybe it's a good thing that they're quiet. Maybe it's a bad thing. I'm not going to really give my opinion on that because there's always the argument. It's like don't show your hand, and saying anything to the media showing your hand. But I also think that they could be hiding themselves from the media and not willing to take the criticism. So we don't know. We don't know what exactly they're thinking. So it kind of sucks as Bulls fans. Like, all right, we're just kind of left here in the dust. But we can, at the very least, make educated guesses, which I think is the fun part. And not start saying, hey, let's just trade this person for this guy, which is not possible to get, right? So that's that. Bulls against the Knicks. Bulls are going to be in New York, okay? Madison Square Garden. I know the Knicks blew us out at home twice in a row. Or I guess the first game was an OT loss, so not blowout, but still a bad loss. Bulls need to go into New York and looking for a revenge, right? They need to come in and be like, we're winning this game. They beat us on our home court. We're gonna beat them on their home court. Let's make sure that Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle just don't get off to good starts, and let's make it as tough as possible for the Knicks shooting guys to win the game for them. If the New York Knicks hit 23s, you tip your cap, say, good job. You showed up tonight when the team needed it most. But I'm going to say that the Knicks won't hit 23s, so protect the paint first. Worry about the three-point shooters second, because the Knicks are not a good three-point shooting team. And you do that, limit the paint opportunities for the Knicks, you should win this one. We've seen this Bulls team, this exact Bulls team, go to Madison Square Garden and win games. So to me, they should be able to win this game in Madison Square Garden. Hopefully, some guys are healthy, like Caruso or Javante or somebody. But if the Bulls are going to be shorthanded, well, you got your 3 All-Stars out there, so you should still, even though you're going to be shorthanded and missing some key guys, you got to still put up a fight in this one. If you end up losing it, but your defense was good, I'm not going to be too upset. I know the offense is just going to be a struggle from here on out, because it doesn't seem like this new system is actually being effective. But if you play good defense and you end up just losing because your offense died, I can't be upset. But don't lose this game because of bad defense. That will put me in a very bad mood, and the rest of the fan base in a very bad mood. So to me, New York at New York, and then home against Houston. These are 2 games that the Bulls should get. You need to win these 2. Then you face Milwaukee, which is probably gonna be an L, which is not too big of an issue. But then you have a game against Detroit right after. So to me, I'm looking at the Bulls winning the 3 of their next 4. They should, at least, right? To me, that's the expectation. You should win 3 of your next 4. Milwaukee and Cleveland, and then Cleveland again. I'm not going to be too upset if they lose those games because they're the better teams. But New York, Houston, Detroit, win them. You should be able to win those games. And then we're looking at the season a little bit better. And looking at the players a little bit better as well. Seeing that they can actually play both ends of the court. Kind of sucks the Bulls went on this losing streak when I thought that this was the time to make up ground, because I thought this little stretch here was winnable, like very, very winnable games in a row. It gets kind of tougher in January again, right? Philly, Boston, right? Golden State. It's a little bit tougher at the start of January, but then there's some games here at the end where it's like these are very winnable again. So get these games, end December well, then head into January with some momentum into the new year. Stay afloat during the first part of January, but then, from Washington on, these are winnable games except for Golden State. So do that. And we're looking at a much better season overall for the Bulls. All right, I want them to keep it close. Yep, that's all I'm asking for as well. But most notably, keep it close because your defense, not because your offense. I don't care about the offense right now. Be good defensively. The offense dies, so be it. Just play good defense, and I'll be all right with whatever the outcome is. But that's actually gonna do it for me, guys. I streamed a long time yesterday. It's an hour stream today. But I'm also a little bit tired. I'm still recovering from sickness. But I appreciate you guys hanging out in the stream. If you have not already, I would appreciate it if you hit that like button on the stream. It helps me out a lot. If you're new to the channel and like Chicago Bulls content, hit that subscribe button. I would really, really appreciate it. And the Bulls are going to be taking on New York Knicks on December 23rd in New York. Hopefully the Bulls get this win in New York. And I'll probably see you guys for that post-game stream as well. If you're in Illinois, please, please, please be safe. Blizzard is coming. I'm very concerned for some of the safety of everybody. Please, please, please be safe if you're going to be affected by the blizzard conditions. So stock up, be safe, and hopefully you're going to be enjoying sports just as I will during the blizzards. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Good to see you guys. Appreciate you, Jakes. Glad to see you here, and everyone else that checked in. I'll see y'all in the next stream. Peace.